thank
No,
Jenna.
I just, yeah, I just
I-
meant like go through the motions
Oh,
of
yeah, and
that.
we're gonna go
Okay.
through the agenda. And I wanted to thank Jenna for stepping forward to take minutes here since Barb couldn't be with us. Thank you.
Happy to do it. And I'm all
Okay,
ready.
so if you're ready, I'm gonna call us to order at 2:02.
Mm.
And we'll do a roll call. Marilyn Comrie,
Here.
Hallie Keeler,
Here.
Jenna Lowenstein,
Here.
Sashi Nadadin-Sivia, Barb Nagy, Marie Shaw,
Here.
Carl Strand,
Here.
Sue Troy,
Here.
and I'm Catherine Brady. I don't see Ada Gauthier either. All right. And although this will be more official at our next meeting, I want to welcome Sue Troy to our, she signed her oath of allegiance to Groton. I don't know, but has joined us for real now, which is just super.
Yeah.
The first order of new business is to review the modifications that we've made to the reconsideration form. Did you all have a chance to take a look at that? It was attached to Jennifer's email.
Yes.
So the new part is, as I'm sure you noticed, is the 2 sentences underneath, you must be a Groton resident to make this request. We felt it was important to really establish our expectations that a person requesting reconsideration of a material should take it as seriously as we do and really look at the form, think it over, answer the questions quite specifically and as fully as they can. And it seemed to us it was reasonable to expect that before we would reconsider a material at the library. May I have a motion to approve this document?
So moved.
That was Marie, and a second. I see Hallie, thank you. It's now open for discussion. What would you like to talk about regarding this change?
So the change is that they have to be a Groton resident?
No, that part was in there before.
Oh, I
The
thought so.
change is the 2 sentences right below that
Oh,
part.
below it, okay.
Maybe I can just kind of
I was going to say it might be helpful
paraphrase
for
it.
context.
If a complainant does not fill out the form thoroughly, then there does not have them. It can be the complaint can be rejected because the form is not adequately filled out. Is that the same?
I think additionally too is in order, if you are challenging something, we need to have some specific information as the questions are laid out to gather information in order to then process that and review it against our policy, etc. So it needs to be filled out so we have something to work with.
Right.
There's nothing to work with.
For analysis and decision making.
Is there any more discussion about this? Hearing none, I will put this to a vote. All in favor of adding these 2 sentences, please read this form carefully, and for your request to be considered, you need to provide specific answers to each question. Please signify that by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Our next order of business is to review the recommendation of the reconsideration subcommittee, who met last Friday to discuss a request for reconsideration that was submitted to Jennifer maybe 10 or 11 days ago. Jennifer, do you want to report out on the subcommittee?
So the information that was barely given in the reconsideration or challenge form didn't give us a lot to review. However, we did walk through the process as best that we could. The reconsideration committee has made a decision of keeping the item on the shelf and keeping it in the collection. How we came to review and what we used was looking at our collection development policy, what's already in place. And it does conform, the work does conform to our collection development policy. That was a number one item. And then we also, from just explaining about the reconsideration form, since we didn't have a sufficiently complete form, the only method that we used basically was our collection development policy. So therefore, the recommendation committee has decided to keep the item on the shelf and in the collection. That is the decision. So we'd like, anybody have any questions on that?
I'd add for the record that all of the members of the subcommittee actually read the entire book.
I'd also add that we found reviews in a that were
Professional.
positive for the work, professional reviews.
Yeah, for folks who weren't in that meeting, in the Washington Post, Book List, and Kirkus all had positive reviews.
And we also consulted the ALA policy.
And those reviews are noted specifically in our library policy manual as part of the collection development plan.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any more discussion of this, or are you ready to vote on whether to accept the subcommittee's recommendation?
Just to clarify that the form that we received, as Jen said, there wasn't much information. There was virtually no information. Why do you object to this book? Blah, blah, nothing. And the reason for this complaint was sexuality, which is a very vague and broad term at the same time. And that's all she said. It should be banned. I don't know how this got on the shelf in the first place, but there was not. The question is, did you read this book? She circled yes, but then wrote, well, I skimmed it. So, it was not even, there just wasn't any, there were no grounds.
Also, this particular book, the author in the preface gave a not a warning, but a guidance that
Disclaimer.
that if she had read the whole book, she would have read the preface, and if in read that preface, if she found that was not something she wanted to read, there was an alert on it, basically, that for certain aspects of the book, it might be something that you may not prefer to read. So I'm paraphrasing, that's not the words, but basically it was even more so the work had a preface that gave guidance to the reading of the book.
So are we going to say anything to this woman about the fact that she didn't fill the thing out the way she should have? Because I'm thinking, once we vote on this, it stands for 3 years, so she doesn't, or maybe we should, going forward, we should also have, if somebody asks for it at the desk, one of these papers, that they're told that they have to fill it out fully, just in case they don't read it. Because I think I have a problem with the fact that it's an adult book and an adult wants an adult book taken off the shelf so other adults can't read it, but that's me. But I'm just wondering, you know what I mean?
I think that's what our proposed edit to the reconsideration form was getting at, asking people to read the form and complete it.
Yeah, but see,
Specifically.
but we didn't realize we needed to do that until somebody didn't do it. And
Fair enough.
the one who didn't do it, that's what.
So
Whatever.
the conversation that should they come to the desk and say, yes, I would like this. I would like this challenge, and we can, when we provide the form to them, if they want it that way, we will say this must be completed in full for us to consider it. So staff will also acknowledge what they should be saying at the desk.
I'm not convinced that the recommendation of the subcommittee really was that deeply affected by how the form was filled out. I mean, everybody read the book and did not find something objectionable enough that it would overwhelm the fact that the reviews were good, the book was put on the shelf in accordance with the library's policies. So I don't really think the form had, you know, the extent of filling out or not of the form had that much to do with the recommendation of the subcommittee. Is that fair, ladies?
I think it's fair. I think if
Oh,
there had been a more
yeah.
specific complaint, that could
Yes.
have changed the shape of our conversation,
Yeah.
but I think our conclusion would have been the same.
Definitely. Mhm.
Yeah.
Which boils down to the fact that there was nothing on it.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
virtually nothing on it.
I mean, I wasn't on the committee, so I didn't read the book, but I did go online and I read a review from the Washington Post about the book. And then I read the comments by the people who commented on the review. And most of them were women, Jewish women.
Mhm.
So, and they were, I thought they had more to say than the woman who objected to the book had to say in her complaint of wanting to have it taken off the shelf. So she could have been more specific, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
One thing, Marilyn, and in my experience as a librarian, is that that form and those questions, they really are, I don't know if they're exactly as the American Library Association suggests, but they're pretty darn close. And when you ask someone to give a thoughtful analysis about why they have a feeling, okay, that makes them, it kind of stops the knee jerk.
Mhm.
So what else would you recommend in addition, to replace this item? Well, that means someone has gone deep and has really thought about it, and it's a very meaningful complaint as opposed to, oh, I just don't like it.
Mm.
And that kind of complaint is very serious. So we take it very seriously on our side, but at the same time, we ask someone who makes the complaint to do that same kind of analysis and thoughtful thinking about their reaction to work. And not just their personal, but also how it will affect those who no longer have that work available in the library.
Yeah, it's not necessarily within the scope of this meeting because the purpose of this meeting is to address this particular issue, but
Yes.
it does make me curious about what situation might arise where we would actually pull something from the shelf,
Mm-hmm.
and probably it's partly on me to review the acquisitions guidelines, because that's going to be your primary stopping point. Is if it violates those acquisitions, then perhaps that means it's not something that should be there. But maybe I guess that might be an interesting topic of conversation for our next in-person meeting. So,
Sure. Absolutely.
but as far as the recommendations of the subcommittee regarding this challenge in this book, do we need a motion to support and to vote?
Yes.
If so, I so move.
Okay, may I have a second?
I second.
Okay, that was Sue Troy. All right, all in favor of accepting the subcommittee's recommendation on this book and retaining the book on the shelf, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. That looks unanimous, so that carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Is a letter written to the woman or and who?
The cat.
So the next step would be a communication with the person about the decision and thanking them for, communicating with us. So, but we can reflect some of that in the letter, as Marilyn brought up, if, everybody thinks that that's appropriate to just say, well, maybe not about the form itself, about filling it out because that person didn't, and then we can just tell our decision and be done with it.
I think if you point it out, it opens the question of her resubmitting the form.
Yeah, right.
Which
So maybe you just say,
We could
this
reconsider.
is our decision.
we could
We can
reconsider, of
reconsider
course, but yeah.
We could
Resubmit the-
reconsider in
Reconsider
another
too.
3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
that's the
right.
thing. It's 3 years, so
Yeah.
she can't resubmit it on that book. She can pick a different book.
Great.
That's right. I know.
I'm gonna really, honestly, I loved the book, so I look forward to what she recommends next.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, Jen. Are there any
Yes.
books that that are routinely, like every 3 years, somebody submits a request? Like, are there old books that people do that with or not?
I have not received any.
Oh, okay.
We always keep a file
Mhm.
of books that have been challenged in the past. In fact, I was looking through it this morning, just so to see what kind of communication
There's-
we had with the last people who were providing those forms.
I don't remember it happening in my tenure. When was the last time this happened?
I was with the last director's tenure. There was a couple of them.
Hallie,
To answer Sue's question, there are in fact lists that are updated every year of like the 10 most or the 100 most.
Right.
So there's documentation out there that materials are being challenged.
I also, if I can say, I don't have the form in front of me, our reconsideration form, but
Mhm.
does it not require an individual to make
It
the
asks
complaint,
you
not
to
an,
identify that there is
an
an individual.
agency or a not, you know, a
Mhm.
We
group
ask
or
that, we ask if they're on their own or if they're representing.
right.
And I think that was based on other challenges.
Have been made, right, right.
is there any further discussion or other items that people would like to address? If not, then I
Say
thank
that,
you all.
you just say that I think the process went really well, and thank you both Jennifer and Catherine and Jenna and Hallie too. I think the process went really well.
Thank you all for not only, supporting this, both the reconsideration form as well as being on a subcommittee, and also turning around very quickly the other members to vote on this topic.
We appreciate your giving up some of your Friday afternoon. Thank you so much. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That was Marilyn, and we adjourn at 2:19. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a nice
Thank
weekend.
you
Have a
all.
good
Have a
weekend.
great
Thank you.
See you next time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.